There are two battles between undefeated teams, with the Los Angeles Rams visiting the Philadelphia Eagles and the Arizona Cardinals facing the San Francisco 49ers. Injuries have affected a few top quarterbacks. The Bengals, Joe Burrow with turf toe, the Vikings, J.J. McCarthy with an ankle, and the Jets, Justin Fields with a concussion are ruled out. And the 49ers, Brock Purdy with a turf toe and shoulder, and the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, are listed as questionable. With that, their notable backups are looking to make their mark. Also, on Sunday night, the Chiefs look to dig themselves out of their first 0-2 start in the Patrick Mahomes era against the New York Giants. Let's get into the full Week 3 slate, which culminates with a huge Monday Night Football matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens on ESPN. For this is the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. Hey there, welcome everybody to this Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined at the moment by Michael Bullock. We are maybe awaiting the presence of good old MF Michael Fletcher. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. Week 3 of the NFL season kicked off last night. Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime Video, an AFC East divisional matchup, a buddy bowl between MF's team, the Miami Dolphins, and my team, the Buffalo Bills, from Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park. Back and forth, hard-fought matchup, a great game. But at the end of the day, it was the Buffalo Bills defeating the Miami Dolphins 31-21. Buffalo defeats Miami. Buffalo improving to 3-0 on the season. Miami dropping to 0-3. The Buffalo Bills, of course, will be back home for their next. Will still be at Highmark Stadium for their next game next Sunday, the 28th, when they host the New Orleans Saints. The Miami Dolphins will be heading back to their home of Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, and they will be hosting their third. They will be in their third consecutive AFC East divisional matchup against the New York Jets, and which is currently slated to be our Zonk game of the week next week. So we'll keep an eye on that. But for the winners, for the Buffalo Bills, for my team, of course, as we break down the numbers here. For the Bills, it was, of course, Josh Allen, JA-17, 22 of 28, 213 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. James Jimbo Cook, 19 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown on the run in the running game. Dalton Kincaid, 5 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Khalil Shakir, 4 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. No sacks for the defense, but they had the biggest play of the game. An interception by Terrell Bernard late in the fourth quarter as the Dolphins were driving for a tying score. Terrell Bernard intercepting it and leading to a game-sealing field goal by Matt Prater from 48 to seal the win for Buffalo. For the Miami Dolphins, it was Tua Tagovailoa, 22 of 34, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, but throwing that costly interception. Devon Achane, 12 carries for 62 yards. And Ollie Gordon II, 9 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown for him. Tyreek Hill, 5 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 5 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown for the receiving corps. Defense had a couple of sacks. Tyrell Dodson with 1 and Bradley Chubb with another. And when all was said and done, Buffalo gets the job done, and Buffalo defeats Miami 31-21 last night on Thursday Night Football. I will give credit where credit is due to MF and his Dolphins. They played a very, very good game last night. So good that they almost deserved to win this game. And there was a small part of me that thought maybe they were going to win this game. But they made 2 costly mistakes. The difference of this game, the outcome of this game was determined by those two huge mistakes by the Miami Dolphins. First and foremost, the running into the punter penalty on Zach Sealer. Even though Buffalo pinned them back very deep on that punt, they pinned them at right around their own 1 or 2. It was noted a moment later that Zach Sealer had ran into the punter. Not the 5-yard variety, the 15-yard variety, which gave Buffalo an automatic first down. It gave Buffalo a new lease on life, and go figure, JA-17 led him down the field. Khalil Shakir with the game-winning touchdown for Buffalo. And, of course, the other costly mistake for the Miami Dolphins was Tua Tagovailoa, when Tua threw the interception that was intercepted by Terrell Bernard. And that literally sealed the game for Buffalo, and they were able to get it to within field goal range for Matt Prater, 48-yard field goal to seal it. And a 31-21 win for the Buffalo Bills, now 3-0 on the season. And they will be back at home. They will once again be at Highmark Stadium as the New Orleans Saints come to town. And this magical start continues. I mean, the defense needed work. Obviously, two of our studs on defense, Ed Oliver and Matt Milano, both out with injuries. But I am hopeful that one or both of them will be back for the Saints game next week. Offense is clicking on all cylinders. Josh Allen picking up right where he left off from last year's MVP campaign. Jimbo Cook running the ball at a very high level. His last couple of games have been amazing. He's had 2 straight 100+ yard games and had a touchdown. And a very interesting thing here is they have now won an NFL record 25 straight games winning the turnover battle. They've won the turnover battle in 25 consecutive games. And in the 3 games they played already, they've scored 102 points. Otherworldly right now. And they keep doing what they're doing. This could be the year. This really could be the year for the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia. We'll talk more about that next week. As for the Miami Dolphins, I know MF's gutted. I don't blame them. I know Fins Up Nation. I know they're gutted as well. But you guys have nothing to be ashamed of. You played a hell of a game last night, and you very easily could have won if you didn't commit those 2 mistakes. There's a good chance we're sitting here talking about the Miami Dolphins stealing one in Buffalo last night for the first time since 2016, but not the case here. So credit where credit's due to Miami. And who knows, maybe next week will finally be the week they get in the win column as they go up against the Jets. That game will be for the right to very likely stay out of the basement in the AFC East. So great game. I wish MF was here right now because I would have done a virtual mega power handshake for a hell of a game. And that's all there is to say on that. And these 2 teams will meet again in Miami on Sunday afternoon, November the 9th. As of right now, that's slated to be a 1 p.m. game in Miami. So that'll be on Sunday, November the 9th, right around Veterans Day. So see what happens with that one. So great win for Buffalo. And the better they play, the more optimistic I'm going to get. So keep it up, boys. Keep it up. That's all I'm going to say. Made me very proud last night. Well done. So keep it going next week. That's all I can say. So not much more to say here. So Michael Bullock, come on in. Credit to MF's Dolphins for a hell of a fight last night. But at the end of the day, I mark magic for the Buffalo Bills once again.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say, Buffalo definitely was challenged by this, by Miami. And there were even times I was thinking maybe Miami was going to somehow maybe pull this off and beat them. But but nope, not the case here. And Buffalo did what they had to do, and you said now they're 3-0 on the season, while Fletcher's Dolphins are 0-3. So who knows what's going to happen here? And I mean, what's going to happen with Miami? I mean, a lot of questions. I think is what's going to happen with Mike McDaniel and all that jazz. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. But yeah, but for right now, congratulations to the Bills, 3-0 on the season, and yeah, all we can say is I'm sure they're going to continue what they're doing. So nothing more for me to say. So let's get on with the rest of week number 3.
And we started off, we get into the first of our nine. We have 9 1:00 games to get into. And we're going to start it off with an NFC South divisional matchup. The Atlanta Falcons squaring off against the Carolina Panthers, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. This game over on Fox. And on the call for that game will be Tim. Here's an interesting crew. Tim Brando, Matt Millen, and Sarah Kustok will have the call of that one. And the spread currently favors Atlanta. Atlanta opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. Series history also favors Atlanta, 37-23. Both teams split last year. Both teams winning on the road. So Atlanta won in Charlotte last year, 38-20. Carolina's last home win over Atlanta was 2023, a 9-7 defensive battle that MF would be proud of. So with all that being said, let's dive right on in to our first game of the week. The Falcons had a goal to be the top offense in the league this season, but their defense has actually carried them thus far, outside of the terrific play of running back Bijan Robinson. Atlanta is 29th in the league in success rate in the red zone, 26.1%. And offensive coordinator Zach Robinson acknowledged that it's definitely something we've got to get fixed. Quarterback Michael Penix Jr. said he's looking forward to the pass and run game, clicking at the same time to see how electric we can be. Panthers quarterback Bryce Young had arguably the best performance of his career in the 2024 season finale against Atlanta, throwing for 252 yards and 3 touchdowns while rushing for 2 more. The key was that Atlanta never seriously pressured him, but things are different this week. Young is facing an Atlanta defense that found its groove last week with 6 sacks in a win over Minnesota last Sunday night. Bryce Young threw for career highs in completions 35, attempts 55, and passing yards 328 in week 2. Young has never passed for 300-plus yards in consecutive games. The FPI favors Atlanta, 56%, going with the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons to win this game as well. I'm going to go 24-17. Atlanta defeats Carolina. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Atlanta and Carolina kicking off the early window on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, of course, I mean, yeah, coming off of a huge win over the Minnesota Vikings last week, and and of course now they got to deal with excuse me. They got to deal with this Carolina Panther team, but I think it should be no problem for them. So I too am going to go with the Atlanta Falcons to win this one. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on to the next game.
And we stay on Fox, the Fox side of the ledger, for an old school matchup between two of the all-time great franchises of all time. We got the Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Cleveland Browns from Cleveland Browns Stadium, Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland. Once again, this game on Fox. It'll be Kevin Kugler, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Allison Williams. They will be on the call for this one. Green Bay leads the all-time regular season series 13-7. Their last meeting was 2021 in Green Bay, and Green Bay won 24-22. Last meeting in Cleveland, 2017, Green Bay winning that one, 27-21 in overtime. The Cleveland Browns have not beaten the Green Bay Packers at home since all the way back in 1992. 17-6 was the final there. The last time the Browns beat the Packers overall was 2005 when they stole one at Lambeau, 26-24. Packers have won 4 meetings in a row. And I did forget to mention that Green Bay opening up as an 8-point favorite in this one. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Green Bay and Cleveland. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this should be. They should. Yeah, Green Bay should be able to handle their business with Cleveland here. I mean, especially with what the defense is able to do, along with Micah Parsons, and I think the offense is going to play well. So I got Green Bay winning this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Green Bay hasn't gotten its running game going yet. And now it faces the number 1 rushing defense in the league. The Browns have allowed only 92 rushing yards in their first 2 games, while running back Josh Jacobs has rushing touchdowns in each of the first 2 games and has scored in a franchise record 10 straight dating to 2024. He's averaging only 3.6 yards a carry. Obviously, we all know what Josh did last year, so I think for teams, that's kind of the game plan coming into it. That the words of quarterback Jordan Love. This week, the Browns have said that they are hyper aware of Packers' new edge rusher, Micah Parsons, who can rush from all over the defensive front. But limiting Parsons' impact also means finding an effective run game that keeps Cleveland out of obvious passing situations. After playing 20 snaps and recording a game-high 61 rushing yards in his debut, rookie running back Quinshon Judkins is expected to get a greater workload in his second game. Joe Flacco said he has the ability to kind of be a game breaker. On snaps that Micah Parsons has played this season, the average opponent QBR is 14. When he's off the field, the QBR jumps to 60. 14-60, that's something. Green Bay, somewhat of an overwhelming favorite here. 71% FPI for Green Bay. And I, too, am going with the Green Bay Packers to win this game. My final score, I'm going to go 35-10. Green Bay all over Cleveland on Sunday. So with that, we move on to our next matchup. And we move on now to our side of the ledger for an AFC South divisional matchup. First of 2 AFC South divisional matchups. We're getting both AFC South matchups this week. We're going to start it off with the Houston Texans squaring off against the Jacksonville Jaguars. TIAA Bank Field at Everbank Field, Alltel Stadium, Jacksonville. And as I mentioned before, this game is on CBS with Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, and Aditi Kinkabuela. And Jacksonville opening up as a 1.5-point favorite. And the series history between these two AFC South rivals, it favors the Houston Texans. Houston leads the all-time series 31-15. Last year, both teams split, both teams winning at home. So Jacksonville won at home against Houston, 23-20 last year. Houston's last win in Jacksonville the year before, 2023, 37-17. Excuse me. So let's check out this AFC South divisional matchup here. All right. Excuse me. Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud said we're really close to turning the season around after starting 0-2, pinpointing that Houston was 1 or 2 plays away from being 2-0. While that's true, the offense has to score more than the 14 points a game it's averaging. Watch to see how effective the offense is this week, because falling to 0-3 for the first time since 2020 could create a hole the Texans cannot get out of. There is not a high level of concern about Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr.'s slow start, 5 catches for 60 yards. But the Jaguars admit they have to get him going. Coach Liam Cohen said he had a productive conversation with Thomas this week, and he has support from quarterback Trevor Lawrence also. Obviously, we would have loved to start off hot these first two games and have our connection be ripping and me finding him everywhere and him having a great year and all those things, Lawrence said. But we're in week 3, everybody. So I think we can all just take a deep breath, give BT a little space. He's going to be just fine. Among 51 instances of a quarterback making at least 5 starts against a division opponent since 2021, Trevor Lawrence's 39 total QBR against the Texans in 8 starts is the second lowest by any signal caller versus a single division opponent, only behind Zach Wilson's QBR of 20 versus Michael Bullock's New England Patriots. Slight FPI for Jacksonville. It's not overwhelming. It's only 53%. 53% going with Jacksonville to win. And I'm going to go with Jacksonville to win as well. My final score is going to be, I'm going to go 27-20. Jacksonville gets by Houston. Literally, the game could go either way. It really, really can. And according to my spreadsheet here, this game comes in, when it comes to our side of the ledger, we have this game listed as our number 6 game of the week. This game came in at number 6. So we'll see how it plays out. But for right now, give me Jacksonville 27-20. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts as Houston and Jacksonville in an AFC South matchup, our number 6 game of the week on our side of the ledger.
Yeah. I mean, this could go either way. I mean, I have to go with Jacksonville as well. I mean, I know it's not gonna be a popular pick, but I just think they're just a smidget better. So I'm going with Jacksonville as well. But Florio, I'm not too comfortable with this selection because this could go either way.
Absolutely, it can. Absolutely. So we shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. So with that, we move on to our next game. Staying on our side of the ledger, CBS, of course. And by the way, how cool is this? CBS is going to be doing an NFL Today throwback this week. How awesome is that? I mean, that's going to bring back so many memories. I mean, you know, when you think of the NFL Today in like the 70s, you think of Brett Musburger and Irv Cross and Phyllis George and all of those legends that were on there. Jimmy the Greek even. But that I cannot wait to see how that looks come Sunday. But for right now, let's get into our next matchup. Our number 2 game of the week. This game came in as our number 2 game of the week on our side of the ledger. The Cincinnati Bengals squaring off against the Minnesota Vikings from US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. And on the call for this one, hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. They will be in Minnesota for the Bengals and the Vikings. And the spread favors, believe it or not, Minnesota opening up as a 3-point favorite here. And series history favors Cincinnati 8-7. Bengals have won the last 2 meetings in a row, but both of those were in Cincinnati, and both of them ended 27-24 in overtime in favor of Cincinnati. Last meeting in Minnesota was 2017, Minnesota smashing Cincinnati 34-7. It looks to me like the Cincinnati Bengals have never won in Minnesota, from what it looks like. Yeah, they've never won in Minnesota. So they're 0-for in Minnesota. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, only fitting that you start this off. This is the number 2 game of the week. Cincinnati, Minnesota. Here's the big thing, though. No Joe Burrow for Cincinnati. Turf toe. He's got to have surgery. He's out for a minimum of 3 months. Ouch. And for Minnesota,
yikes.
And their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, ankle injury. He's out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. So we're going to have a backup quarterback matchup, a backup quarterback battle. Jake Browning for Cincinnati, Carson Wentz for Minnesota.
Oh man, this is another one that could go either way, but I'm gonna go with Minnesota to win this. I mean, look, Carson Wentz has more experience than Jake Browning. I mean, we haven't seen much of what Browning can bring to the table, but we're gonna get it for the next few months. As like you said, now Joe Burrow's out for 3 months with that after having that turf toe surgery. So yeah, and so unless I see something from Browning that makes me feel like they're gonna do this, I'm gonna have to go with the Minnesota Vikings because Carson Wentz has more experience. So it is yours, Florio.
Yeah. Very tough game to call. There is no doubt about that. This could be the week the Bengals finally get their run game rolling, as they have the league's worst rushing attack through 2 games. The Vikings are 26th in the league with 5.2 yards allowed to carry. If Cincinnati can be effective on the ground, that could help quarterback Jake Browning in his first start of the season. It needs to be better, offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher said. No question. There are certainly things that we will investigate that we think can help that. The Vikings have run a league-low 95 offensive plays this season, a fact coach Kevin O'Connell has repeatedly bemoaned as he has tried to find ways to use an array of talented skill players. One of the key reasons has been a 30.4% conversion rate on third down, fourth lowest in the NFL. They might find more daylight against the Bengal defense that has been on the field for 151 plays this season, fourth most in the league. Cincinnati has also allowed the NFL's third highest third down conversion rate at almost 52%. Jake Browning has a 71.5% career completion rate as a starter, which is the third highest mark by any signal caller in his first 7 starts since quarterback starts were first tracked in 1950, a minimum of 200 attempts. Behind Washington's Jaden Daniels at 75.6% and former quarterback Chad Pennington at 73.7%. The FPI agrees with you, Bullock. They favor Minnesota in this one. 56% going with Minnesota. And I think I will go with Minnesota in this one. I don't remember who I picked to win this game, but I'm going to go with Minnesota here. I'm going to go 21-17. Minnesota defeats Cincinnati in our number 2 game of the week. And we move on. We stay on our side of the ledger. This game comes in as our number 4 game of the week. Here you go, Bullock. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against Michael Bullock's New England Patriots from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Iron Eagle, J.J. Watt, Evan Washburn. They will have the call for this game. And the spread favors Pittsburgh, but it's only by 1.5. It's a 1.5 point spread for Pittsburgh. How close is this? Regular season series is tied 15-15. So whoever wins this is going to take the lead in the season series. New England has won the last 3 meetings in a row against Pittsburgh, including a 21-18 win in Pittsburgh in 2023. Last meeting in Foxborough, 2019, New England absolutely smashed Pittsburgh 33-3. Pittsburgh last beat New England in 2018 in Pittsburgh 17-10 rather. The Pittsburgh Steelers' last regular season win in New England got to go back to 2008 when they smashed New England 33-10. That was when Matt Castle was the quarterback. So Pittsburgh and New England, number 4 game of the week. Let's talk about it. Improving in the run game is an emphasis for the Steelers on both sides of the ball. Through 2 games, the offense ranks 30th in yards a game at 62.5 and yards per carry at 3, while the defense is 28th in rushing yards per game allowed, 149.5, and 22nd in yards per carry allowed at 4.4. Defensive coordinator Terrell Austin said we were getting knocked around a little bit last year. And that's when he was asked if the run defense's issues are similar to last year's. This year, we are not getting knocked around. Patriots starting cornerback Christian Gonzalez, who missed the first 2 games with a hamstring injury, was a limited participant in the first two practices of the week, and thus has a chance to make his 2025 debut. If he does, a matchup against wide receiver DK Metcalf, who experienced success against him last year, would loom large. He's a great receiver. He can change the game in a lot of ways, stretch the field, doing screens, doing a lot of things with him, Gonzalez said. I learned a lot from him last year, and now we're focused on this year. The Steelers have allowed 31.5 points a game through the first two games of 2025, tied with 2018 for the most allowed through the opening two games under head coach Mike Tomlin. This is literally a pick'em game here. They say the FPI favors Pittsburgh, but it's 49.8%. This is literally a coin toss here. But based on talent and body of work, with all due respect, Bullock, I have to go with Pittsburgh in this one. I'm going to go 27-24. Pittsburgh defeats New England. But I would certainly not be surprised if the Patriots actually pull this out. I mean, yeah, they came out flat against the Raiders in week 1. They absolutely exploded in Miami a week ago. Antonio Gibson, the hero, with that epic kickoff return touchdown just after Miami had scored a punt return touchdown. Myself, Bullock, and our dear friend Brian Keenan, we lost our minds at Buffalo Wild Wings when we saw this game there last Sunday. And definitely the turning point, and New England with the big win in Miami. So, but because of, I think the Steelers are just a smidgen better. So I got to give a slight edge to Pittsburgh here. 27-24, I'm going with Pittsburgh. But I wouldn't be surprised if New England found a way to win. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, tale of 2 weeks for your Patriots. Week 1 against the Raiders, you boys came out flat. But last week in Miami against the Dolphins, my goodness, you boys absolutely exploded. And you picked a great time to do it. And Antonio Gibson, the hero, with that epic kickoff return touchdown. But now you got Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers coming to town. Very tough to call. But your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a tough one here. I mean, but yeah, I actually agree with you. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, they are a better team because, look, you got Aaron Rodgers, you got Metcalf, and yeah, I mean, New England did put up a really good fight. I mean, they somehow won the game against Miami, but just based on talent, I got to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. So we'll see what happens. It's yours, Florio.
Indeed we will, Bullock. Indeed we will. So, all right, now we go to the Fox side of the ledger. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm considering this the game of the week right here. A rematch of last year's NFC divisional playoff. The Los Angeles Rams squaring off against your reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Joe Davis, Greg Olsen, Pam Oliver on the call. Philadelphia opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. And we all remember they met in the divisional round last year on that cold, snowy, late Sunday afternoon in Philadelphia, where Saquon Barkley literally turned on the snow tires. He had the snow tires ready. And my goodness, did he determine the outcome of that one. Let's see. Philadelphia leads the regular season series 23-18 with a tie. Last year they met in Los Angeles on a Sunday night, and Philly smashed LA 37-20. Their last meeting in Philadelphia was 2020, and the Rams won that game 37-19. Philly's last regular season home win against the Rams was 2014. They won 34-28. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, for me, I got to consider this. You could make an argument. This is the game of the week right here. Both teams are 2-0. Mm-hmm. And who knows? This could have this game could be significant as to who could be one of the teams to beat in the NFC. Both of these teams are that good. And divisional rematch, the Rams and the Eagles both 2-0. This could have some NFC playoff implications down the line.
Yeah, this could definitely have some playoff implications somewhere down the line. And yeah, I remember that game when Saquon literally turned on the snow tires and ran all over the Rams. So yeah, this is going to be a good game, a good challenge for the champs. You know, Sean McVay, I'm sure, is going to have a game plan to slow down this Eagles offense and to try to attack the Eagles defense. So it's going to be close, but I think at the end of the day, the Eagles will pull away and win this one. So I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. The Eagles are the first team since 2010 to start a season 2-0 without a passing touchdown. Through 2 games, the Rams defense has allowed only 1 total touchdown. But despite the lack of passing touchdowns for Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, Rams coach Sean McVay called Jalen Hurts a winner. He can beat you with his arm, legs, or his mind. The Rams had a very difficult time against Eagles running back Saquon Barkley in their 2 matchups last season, as he racked up a whopping 460 yards on the ground against them in the regular season and in the playoffs. Even on the 8 occasions they went with an 8+ man box in the divisional matchup, Barkley had 92 yards and a touchdown per NFL Next Gen stats. Left tackle Jordan Mailata said, "We do see opportunity when they load the box like that. It's not a cockiness thing. It's just based on the scheme that we have and also the guys up front, knowing that if we can get to these calls and execute them, huge gains." Jalen Hurts has rushed for a touchdown in 5 straight games, including the playoffs, which is tied for the longest streak of his career. He had 5 straight games last year in 2024 from weeks 7 through 11. The FPI gives a slight edge to Philadelphia, 57% going with Philadelphia. I'm going with Philadelphia to win as well. 28-24, give me Philadelphia to defeat the LA Rams in what should be a very exciting game on Sunday. Moving on to our next matchup. I think we have 3 1:00 games left. Staying on the Fox side of the ledger, a cross-flex game here, as it will be the New York Jets squaring off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And on the call for that game will be Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Megan O'Leary. And the spread favors Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. The Jets actually lead the all-time series 10-3. But the Buccaneers have won the last 2 meetings in a row, including a 25-24 win in New York in their last meeting in 2021. Last meeting in Tampa Bay was 2017, Tampa Bay winning 15-10. The Jets' last win in Tampa Bay was in 2009. They smashed Tampa Bay 26-3 in that game. So let's get into the Jets and the Bucs. All right. The Jets have an enormous amount of confidence in veteran quarterback Tyrod Taylor, whom guard John Simpson described as super swaggy. Taylor, who replaces Justin Fields, who's out with a concussion, has 4 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions in 3 Jets appearances since 2024, all mop-up duty. This will be his first start in 624 days, week 18 of the 2023 season. Taylor can be more effective from the pocket than Fields, but New York loses a lot without the threat of Fields' running abilities. The Bucs have now lost defensive tackle Kalijah Cansey with a pectoral muscle and guard Cody Mauch with a knee for the season, while left tackle Tristan Wirfs is recovering from knee surgery and right tackle Luke Gadecki is expected to miss time with a foot injury. They've had to take the phrase next man up to a whole new level. GC Ben Bredesen said of quarterback Baker Mayfield keeping the Bucs in games, "I think his leadership is incredible. There's no one I'd rather follow in a 2-minute drill. He goes in there with the utmost confidence and on 4th and 10 is able to get out of something like that. Scramble, get us a first down, pop up, lead the troops right down the field." Jets receiver Garrett Wilson has a 37% target share on the Jets offense this season. Only 2 players have had a target share that high in a full season. Brandon Marshall with the Chicago Bears in 2012 and Steve Smith with the Carolina Panthers in 2005. Another high FPI here. Tampa Bay gets the FPI nod. 70% going with Tampa Bay. And I'm going to go with Tampa Bay to win this game as well. I'm going to go 34-19. Tampa Bay defeats the Jets. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Jets and Tampa, your thoughts? Bullock, are you there?
Oh, I just forgot. I just forgot to unmute myself. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think this should be. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for the Jets because remember, no Justin Fields for this week. So we'll see what happens with whoever starts for the Jets. So
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor. So and he's going to have to go up against Baker Mayfield and the rest of that offense. So it's going to be a tough go around for them. So I definitely got to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this one. So let's move on to the next game for you.
Our second to last early game here. It is the other AFC South divisional matchup featuring the maybe the biggest surprise of the NFL for the first 2 weeks of this season. The Indianapolis Colts squaring off against the Tennessee Titans, Nissan Stadium in Nashville. And on the call for this one, for CBS, it'll be Tom McCarthy, Ross Tucker, and Amanda Balionis. Oh, come on. I do apologize here. This thing is okay, I got it now. When it comes to the Colts and the Titans, the spread favors Indianapolis. Indianapolis opening up as a 4-point favorite. Indianapolis leads the regular season series 39-21. The Colts have won the last 4 meetings in a row against the Titans, which means they won the last 2 years in Nashville. 20-17 last year, 31-28 in OT the year before. Tennessee's last home win against Indy was 2022. That was a 24-17 final. So this game comes in as our number 7 game of the week. So Michael Bullock, how about those Indianapolis Colts? I mean, they smashed Miami in week 1, and it looked like they were going to lose last week, but a costly penalty for Denver on the last play of the game. It looked like Indy had missed a 60-yard field goal, but then Denver was called for unfair leverage, leaping, I believe, and it got the kick reduced from 60 to 45. And Spencer Schrader, no problem. He booted it. Indy wins. Indy's 2-0. I got to be honest. With all due respect, biggest surprise in the league right now. Did you expect them to be 2-0? I certainly didn't.
I don't think anybody expected them to be 2-0. I mean, they are, like you said, the biggest surprise through the first 2 games. And here's another thing I just realized, Florio, about the Colts.
Yes.
Through the first 2 games, they have not punted a single time.
You'd have to be really good at Madden or Tecmo Bowl to pull off something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me that the Colts would have won the first 2 games, and let me remind you who the starting quarterback is. Daniel Jones.
Or as Pat McAfee calls him, Danny Dimes.
Yeah, with Daniel Jones. I mean, did you think this Colts team was going to be 2-0 with Daniel Jones as their starter?
And squaring off against opposition like Miami and Denver? No.
I would have called you a damn liar if
I would have thought 0-2.
I would have thought the exact opposite, but give credit to Indy. I know it's only 2 games, but
biggest surprise for me so far.
Exactly. I mean, and to me, I think at this point, I mean, until I see something that makes me feel like Indy's going to lose, I gotta go with Indy here. So we'll see what happens. So So Floria, we now got Michael Fletcher here. So
Yes, we do.
let's catch him up on some of the games that he missed up to this point.
Well, I'll give my pick, and then we'll catch up.
All right. You do your picks, and then we'll let Fletch catch up.
Yes. MF, welcome. We'll get to you in just a moment. So I just want to give my quick thought on this matchup, since Bullock started it anyways. This thing will let me move. All right, just have to earn it. All right. Yeah, like I said, here we go. The Colts might be 2-0, but they ranked 30th in defensive pressures with 12 and 25th in sacks with 3. This game might provide an opportunity to get the pass rush going. Tennessee has allowed a league-high 11 sacks and yielded 29 pressures, tied for 6th. The Colts are hoping to get defensive end Liatu Latu, their 2024 first-round pick, back after he missed last Sunday's game with a hamstring injury. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor rushed for 218 yards the last time he saw the Titans, so they will need to be better this time around. A huge part of that will depend on defensive tackle Tavondre Sweat's status, as he is dealing with an ankle injury that kept him out last week. With Sweat in the lineup, the Titans' run defense held opponents to 4.2 yards a carry, which would have been 8th fewest. But without him, those numbers bumped to 5.3 yards a carry, worst in the NFL. Indianapolis is the first team in the Super Bowl era since 1966. Like Bullock said, with 0 punts through the first 2 games of the season. No team has gone 3 straight games without a punt since at least 1940. Another high FPI here, Indianapolis, 66%, going with Indianapolis. And I'm going to go with Indianapolis to win this one as well. 24-13. Give me Indianapolis to keep this red-hot surprise start going. So not much more to say. We got good old MF Michael Fletcher here. MF, let's get you caught up on the games that we've done so far. But as I get the list here, of course, we talked about last night, Miami and Buffalo. Like I said to you before we started last night, mega power handshake for a hell of a game, man. I mean, you boys fought your hearts out. But it was those 2 little mistakes. Zach Sealer running into the punter, and then the pick by Tua. Other than that, if it wasn't for those couple of things, you boys might have stolen one last night.
Yeah, and the thing is that, going into the game, what was the one thing that we wanted it, and we wanted it to see was, would Miami fight? Would they show grit? Would they show heart in this fight? And damn it to hell, they showed fight. They showed grit. They gave us something to believe in. And everybody had Buffalo wiping the floor with the Miami Dolphins. And if you really think about it, even though the final score was 31-21 Buffalo, if you actually sat down and watched this game from beginning to end, you would have said the Dolphins, if it wasn't for those 2 mistakes, and there was some other mistakes along the way that Miami did, but if it wasn't for those mistakes, either it would have been a lot closer, or we might have been talking about a monumental upset where the Dolphins were going to knock off the Buffalo Bills. And I know, Anthony Florio, I know you were going in thinking, you know what? Buffalo is owned Miami. This should be an easy win. But I know you, and I know there was a point in that game where you're like, oh my freaking God, what are you doing, Buffalo? What are you doing? Because there was a period where Miami forced 3 3-and-outs on the Buffalo Bills. And I was on a Discord chat with my buddies, and they're like, dude, what is Buffalo doing? It looked like they're selling this game to the Miami Dolphins right now. This is not the Buffalo Bills team that they were playing all year long. This is not the dominating Buffalo team. And then, like we said, the mistakes came out. The Steeler, roughing the kicker, and it was roughing the kicker, no doubt about it. I'm not gonna scream and yell saying, oh, maybe it could have been. No, it's straight roughing. There's no doubt about it. He took the kicker. Yeah, he took the kicker right out. Like he took the kicker right out. So
Mm.
we knew that. And then the interception by Tua was horrific timing. It could not have came at a more worse time for Miami in that moment for that to happen. But hey, Miami, like I said, they showed a lot of heart. They showed a lot of grit. They showed that, hey, we're in this. It's unfortunate that was the outcome, but like you said, Miami won some fans that on last night because you can sense that. Yes, they're 0-3, but now the fans are like, wait a minute, that was not Miami what we saw. We saw a little bit of the difference maker in the game against New England last week. Then there was that turnaround against Buffalo where everybody thought they were going to get blown out. Let's be realistic. Everybody was talking about the Buffalo demolishing the Dolphins, that Miami's got no fight, no grit, no nothing. And they showed, nah, we got something. There's something here. If we can clean up the mistakes, I think we might be all right. So, but yeah, that was a tough loss. That's a tough loss because we played almost a perfect game. If it wasn't for those couple of mistakes, Miami was playing the perfect game up to that point, but it is what it is.
All right, MF, let's get you caught up here. We're almost through the early games. We have one more to go, but let's get your thoughts on the games that Bullock and I have talked about so far. Starting with the Atlanta Falcons against the Carolina Panthers.
I got Atlanta in this game. I kind of feel like I don't know what to think about Carolina right now. I really got not much any hope for Carolina here. So I think Atlanta's going to win this game. So, yeah.
Green Bay Packers versus the Cleveland Browns.
Green Bay. I love their defense. Their defense is top-notch right now. That addition of Michael Parsons is looking like a godsend. And as long as Jordan Love doesn't make the big mistakes in the game and just be that game manager that he's been up to this point, Green Bay should win this one and win this one pretty handily.
This game comes in at we rank this as our number 7 game of the week on our side of the ledger. Actually number 6. I'm sorry, number 6. AFC South divisional matchup: Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars.
This one's actually tough because going in, I thought it was going to be Houston, but now I'm kind of leaning towards Jacksonville to win this one. So I kind of feel like Jacksonville at home, I like their chances. Houston, look, they let one get away last week. I thought they should have won that game, but they let one get away at the very end with that big touchdown. So, yeah, I kind of feel like I think Jacksonville is going to win, especially at home. Give me the Jaguars.
This game comes in as our number 2 game of the week. Cincinnati Bengals, Minnesota Vikings, battle of the backup quarterbacks. Jake Browning for Cincinnati, Carson Wentz for Minnesota.
I'm going to go Carson Wentz. I'm going to go with Minnesota to win the game. Look, Cincinnati going in, if it wasn't for, any other thing, I would have said, yeah, but JJ McCarthy's out. Joe Burrow is out. And now I kind of feel like overall, I feel more confident with Carson Wentz as the starting quarterback for Minnesota. I really think Minnesota will win.
Number 4 game of the week, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Bullock's New England Patriots.
This one's tough because, going in, I was going to say Pittsburgh, but what I've seen lately from New England, I feel like their defense is a lot better than they were a year ago. And I think their offense is a little better. I'm still a little shaky on certain areas of New England. I feel like this is a Patriot win. I don't know why. I just feel like at Gillette, in Foxborough, I just feel like New England's just going to have enough to get by and steal the win here.
NFC game of the week, rematch of that divisional playoff from last January. The Los Angeles Rams versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Tough game to call. I know a lot of people have been criticizing Philadelphia, saying, oh, they're not looking like the Super Bowl champions. And, the Rams have looked a little better. But I kind of feel like Philadelphia will figure it out. I think they'll get the job done at some point. I'm kind of confident that Philadelphia will win this game. It's not going to be a pretty game or a good matchup. I just feel like Philly's going to get the job done. So give me Philadelphia to win.
New York Jets versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Buccaneers all the way. Now that Justin Fields is out, they're going to their backup quarterback. I think Baker's gonna cook here. I feel Bucky Irving's gonna cook here. I got a more confident feel in this game. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be firing the cannons, Bucky, with the victory on this one. So yes, I heard you snickering, Florio, because there is an old school joke with back in the day where me and Anthony were doing commentary for an NFC game. This was one of the cross flex moments. Mm-hmm. And he did the fire in the cannons bucket. I was like, oh, I don't think they're going to be. Yeah, the cannons were firing and I was ducking for cover.
Absolutely. All right. And the game that Bullock and I just talked about, the other AFC South divisional matchup. This is our number 7 game of the week. The Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. I know how high you are on Indy right now.
I am very high on Indy. I'm loving what I'm seeing from them right now. Look, I know there's a lot of people that were wondering, was Indy for real? I think they are for real. I think what they've done here has been an incredible job. Caught me off guard, caught everybody off guard, but they've been playing some very sound football lately. Yeah, give me the Indianapolis Colts to win this game. And Anthony, I think that's it. So it's yours.
All right. Yep, we're all caught up here. So to keep the rotation going, I'm gonna go ahead and lead off on our final early game of the week, and it will feature. Speaking of cross flex, MF, here you go. Cross flex matchup here. Just like that Jet Tampa Bay game, the Jets and Tampa Bay are on Fox, and so is this game. The Las Vegas Raiders squaring off against the Washington Commanders, Northwest Stadium or FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. And it's on Fox. We got Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth, and Jen Hale. They will be on the call for this matchup. And went a little far on that. Not a problem. We got it. All right. The spread favors. Yep, it just taking a moment to come up here, but thing is, when it comes to Washington, no Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is out, and Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota will be getting the start for Washington. So. All right, we got it now. I apologize here. So, spread favors Washington, but it's only by 3. And the series history favors it's actually tied. This one's tied 7-7. And the last meeting was 2021 in Vegas, Washington winning 17-15. Last meeting in Washington won that one, 27-10 in 2017. Raiders have not won in Washington since 2005, 16-13 finals. So let's get into the Raiders and the Commanders to round out these early games here. Raiders defensive tackle Jonah Laulu has been a pleasant surprise. Laulu, a 2024 7th rounder, has already totaled 3 sacks and 4 pressures through 2 games. Last season, he only had 1 sack in 17 games and 7 starts. Coach Pete Carroll said he's just blossomed. He had enough plays on film coming off of last year that caught my eye. He's done a nice job. He's been very active, been really consistent with his play. Washington allowed Green Bay tight end Tucker Kraft to catch 6 passes for 124 yards last Thursday night. And now it must face arguably the top player at that position in Brock Bowers. Defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. said eye discipline was a key issue versus the Packers. Too often, the Commanders lost sight of Kraft because of late motion or play actions that fooled them. Washington will have to handle that much better versus Bowers, who lines up all over the field. He's a dynamic young tight end. Witt said you have to treat him like a receiver. The Raider defense has allowed 3.2 yards per rush this season, fourth fewest in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Commanders are averaging 5.3 yards a rush, third most. Despite no Jaden Daniels, Washington is still a decent favorite in the FPI, 61%. Going with the Washington Commanders to win this, and I'm going to go with the Washington Commanders to win this one. I'm going to go 28-20. Washington defeats Las Vegas. So, not much more to say. MF, Vegas and Washington, our final early game. We saw Vegas last Monday night, and let's be realistic. They fell flat on their face against the Chargers. Whereas Washington, they fell flat against Green Bay, and now they're without their franchise quarterback, Jaden Daniels. It's Marcus Mariota against one of his former teams, no less.
Yeah, nah. If you want to talk about storyline and everything else and the drama you're gonna get, this is it. Yeah, I was a little shocked with the announcement, but Janie Daniels had not been practicing all week, and there was a little bit of concern that this was going to be the outcome, and sure enough, here it is. He's out. I kind of feel like it's going to be a good matchup, to say the very least. I kind of feel like the Raiders should turn this around. With Washington, now they got to rely on Marcus Mariota, but the weaponry that they have in this game, I'm going to go with the Commanders to win. But again, because I think Mariota is just as good as Daniels is, and I think he's a serviceable backup. I know a lot of people were, during the offseason was really looking at maybe the Miami Dolphins scooping up Marcus Mariota as a backup instead of Zach Wilson. So I'll see how this plays out. But yeah, at the end, I'm going to go with Washington to win. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Washington Commanders to win this as well. I mean, yeah, no Jaden Daniels, but I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of other guys to step up for them. And like you said, with the Raiders, oof, they just fell flat on their face, and yeah, that was not good at all. So yeah, so I'm going. Yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say. So it is yours, Florio.
All right, guys, and now we get into the late afternoon games. We got 4 of them. 2 4:05 games on CBS, 2 4:25 games on Fox. And the first 4:05 game on CBS, it's our game of the week. This is the game of the week for us. Here we go. AFC West divisional matchup, first place on the line. Sole possession of first in the AFC West to the winner. The Denver Broncos squaring off against the Los Angeles Chargers, SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins on the call. The Chargers opening up as a 3-point favorite. Series history favors Denver in the regular season, 72-57 with a tie. But it was the Chargers who won both meetings against Denver last year, including a wild 34-27 win in Los Angeles. Denver's last win in LA was the year before, in 2023. They went into LA and smashed the Chargers 24-7. So, not much more to say. MF, here we go. Our game of the week, the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers. First place on the line, sole possession of first in the AFC West to the winner. Denver barely getting by Tennessee. They had Indy dead to rights because they made Indy miss a 60-yard field goal, but that costly penalty for leaping, unfair leverage, cost Denver against Indy. Chargers, they shocked the world. They beat the Chiefs in Brazil a couple weeks ago. And then they had and we saw them against the Raiders last Monday night, a very impressive showing. Defense with those 2 big picks. Herbert with that bomb to Quentin Johnston. We were stunned after seeing that. We were like, whoa. when we saw that. So here we go. MF, Denver, Chargers, first place, sole possession of first in the AFC West. Nothing more to say except do that thing I like. Hello, friends.
Yeah, I know this is going to be a very interesting game to say the very least. But I'm going to say it like this. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. I like the Chargers here. I really feel like, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, you know, you know, the first game was like shocking, anything else, it was all amazing in the whole 9 yards." And now all of a sudden, here we go, and yeah, it now blows up. It goes absolutely crazy. And now everybody's taking the Chargers seriously, The defense have gotten better. Offensively, they're not relying too much on Justin Herbert. It's kind of been more of a little bit of a mix, a little bit of run, a little bit of pass. That's exactly how Harbaugh likes to do it. And then in the second half, they just run the football to kind of grind you out. This is Jim Harbaugh playing like this is the Michigan Wolverines. This is the same style and the same formula that brought them the national championship a few years ago. And now he's trying to revitalize that team. And finally, you're starting to see the Harbaugh of the 49ers, that Harbaugh of the Michigan Wolverines. It's starting to rub on the Chargers, and they're already looking like one of the best teams in the NFL right now. As a matter of fact, I will openly admit this, based off what I saw and I've seen from Buffalo, I think the one team that could give them fits is actually the Chargers. The Chargers has a blueprint right now that they could be any team in the AFC, and they're proving it. So I'm going to say it, that's going to be very interesting to watch. Give me the Chargers to win. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time we really start to take this Charger team seriously. I mean, yeah, this is this Charger team. They I think they can hang around with Denver, and they're going to show why it's their time now to take over the AFC West. So give me the Chargers to win this one. So it is yours, Florio.
Absolutely. Oh man. It will bear watching how effective the Broncos are in their attempts to make Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert uncomfortable in the pocket. After a 6-sack performance against Tennessee rookie Cam Ward, the Broncos sent 5 or more rushers on 58% of Daniel Jones dropbacks last Sunday in Indianapolis. Denver only sacked him once, and Daniel Jones finished with 316 passing yards. Herbert has faced the 5th highest blitz rate in the league so far at 37%, but he has a 72% completion rate with 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, behind plenty of heavy formations. The Broncos have to find a way to unsettle him. The Chargers swept Denver in 2 matchups last season, but this time they will have to be without edge rusher Khalil Mack, their team leader in quarterback pressures, 5, tied with Tuli Tuipulotu. He was placed on IR with an elbow injury after the win in Las Vegas Monday night, but is not expected to be out for the season. Coach Jim Harbaugh said he's like the Wolverine, toughest thing I've ever seen. According to ESPN Analytics / NFL Next Gen stats, Broncos quarterback Bo Nix's 3 interceptions this season have been versus zone coverage, tied with the Miami Dolphins' Tua Tagovailoa for the most. The Chargers have played zone coverage on 66% of opponent dropbacks, 6th highest mark this season. The FPI agrees. They give it to the Chargers. It's not overwhelming, though. It's only 56%, but it's still in favor of the Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers to win this one as well. I'm going to go 27-23. The Chargers get by Denver in what should be a very exciting game. Looking very, very much looking forward to calling this one on Sunday. The other 405 game, And this is our number 8 game of the week. As it will feature, and this is a cross flex here. We got another one, but it's a much bigger one. Oh, by the way. We got the New Orleans Saints squaring off against the Seattle Seahawks from Lumen Field in Seattle. On CBS, Andrew Catalan, Charles Davis, Jason McCourty, AJ Ross will be on the sideline for that one. And the series history, or should I say the spread favors Seattle. Seattle opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. New Orleans actually leads the all-time regular season series 10-6. And the Saints have actually won 4 in a row against Seattle, including a 13-10 win in their last meeting in Seattle in 2021. Seattle last beat New Orleans in 2013 at home and overall 34-7, and then beat them again in the playoffs 23-15 later that season when they went on their run to the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl 48, when they absolutely obliterated Denver in what I still consider the most lopsided Super Bowl of all time. Although you can make an argument for last year. But anyways, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, started with you here. New Orleans and Seattle, our number 8 game of the week. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's going to be a tough one here for New Orleans here. And Seattle, I think, is definitely going to be able to handle their business here. So I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks to win. So it's yours.
Saints quarterback Spencer Rattler is coming off the best game of his career in which he threw 3 touchdown passes. However, Rattler is still searching for his first win and is 0-8 as a starter. This will be his 4th career road start, and he said the theme this week is be poised in the noise, with the team acknowledging that playing in Seattle will be a challenge. To prepare, Coach Kellen Moore had officials at practice again and said he planned to have speakers simulate the noise from the stadium. The Saints will also travel to Seattle early to practice, and they practice there on Friday. The Seahawks are home favorites, but they don't need any reminders about the dangers of a letdown game. Last October, they lost 29-20 to a New York Giant team that also came to Lumen Field as 7.5-point underdogs. I think that any given Sunday quote is something that's just so real and believable in this league, veteran defensive tackle Leonard Williams said. Literally, any week, any team can win, so you never want to overlook a team. Seahawks wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba is seeking to become the first player in franchise history with 3 straight games of 100-plus receiving yards to begin a season. High FPI for Seattle, 66%, going with Seattle to win. I'm going with Seattle as well. 27-13. Give me Seattle over New Orleans. Not much more to say. MF, your thoughts on New Orleans and Seattle, our number 8 game of the week.
Sorry about that. New Orleans, Seattle. I'm going with Seattle. I'm sorry, I just don't have that much faith in New Orleans right now. I just feel like they are a complete and utter mess. I really got nothing more to say here. So yeah, give me Seattle to win this one and win this one pretty comfortably. So nothing more to say. Back to you, Anthony.
Yep. Yeah, Bullock started it. So
Okay.
We move on to our 2 425 games on Fox. And with all due respect, I don't really feel this game is worthy of being America's game of the week. I would have put the Rams and Philly in this spot, but that's just me. But nonetheless, this is, quote unquote, America's game of the week on Fox. The Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the Chicago Bears. Soldier Field in Chicago. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi. Dallas opening up as only a 1-point favorite. It's a 1-point spread in favor of Dallas. Series history, regular season, Dallas leads it 14-12. Their last meeting was 2022 in Dallas. Dallas smashed Chicago 49-29. Last meeting in Chicago in 2019, Chicago won 31-24. Dallas's last win in Chicago was 2014, 41-28, the final there. So let's get into Dallas and Chicago. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott's start to the season has been impressive. It's not just the raw numbers, 549 yards, which would be more without 5 drops either. He's also completing 75% of his passes on third down and 64% of his passes when pressured. Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer said, I think he's playing how we would expect him to play. We have a high standard for Dak and the way he's supposed to perform. I think there's a confidence about him right now, which is great. Former Bears coach Matt Eberflus is returning to Soldier Field as the Cowboys defensive coordinator. There's probably no other coach who knows as much about Bears quarterback Caleb Williams' tendencies and ways to attack them than Eberflus. But Williams views this chess match the way he would with any other defensive coordinator. Bears coach Ben Johnson, on the other hand, picked the brains of people inside Hallis Hall to get information on Eberflus's schematic tendencies and how he approached Johnson's offenses in Detroit. I feel like we know what he knows, and we'll be just fine there, Johnson said. Dak Prescott seeking his 18th game and second straight with 350 passing yards and 2 touchdown throws. If he achieves this feat, Prescott would pass Tom Brady for second most in the NFL since 2016, only behind Kansas City's Patrick Mahomes at 21. The FPI, not overwhelming, but they give a slight edge to Dallas. 53% going with Dallas. And I'm actually going to go with Dallas in this one. I'm going to go 27-24. Dallas gets by Chicago. So not much more to say. MF, Dallas, Chicago. To be quite honest with you, I don't think it's worthy to be Fox's America's Game of the Week. Like I said, I would have put the Rams and Philly here and put Dallas and Chicago in the one window.
Yeah, but you also have to remember that normally the games of the week is done predetermined before the season even begins. So I mean, I get it. If you think about it at the time, absolutely, Dallas and Chicago looks like an appetizing storyline. With everything that there was some high expectations for Chicago. Dallas being America's team. I know. Hold on, Mike. Don't you dare say that. But hey, I'm entitled to my own opinion on that. And for, being one of the most polarizing teams in all of the NFL, Dallas has had that distinction of that. So yes, I get where you're coming from with that story, with that narrative that maybe the Rams and Philly should have been the game of the week, but again, this was all predetermined before the season began. When they did the schedule, what game would be like specifically catered to the NFL fans, and that's why they did that. But I do agree. I do have Dallas winning this game because I do believe Dallas is the better squad, and I think they will win this one. So I got nothing more to say. And yeah, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
And what a game against the Giants last week. Unbelievable. We were on the edge of our seats at B-Dubs, man. Ain't that right, Bullock?
Oh, yeah, it definitely was. And yeah, I'm with Fletch on this one, Florio. I mean, I get where you're coming from, where this shouldn't have been America's Game of the Week, but like Fletch said, this was all determined prior to the season. Because when they did the schedule release, I mean, I'm sure that maybe there were people who thought that the Bears were going to be better, and of course we all know what the Cowboys are capable of, so that's why they put it in that position. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I'm with Fletch on this one, but again, I get where you're coming from, Florio. So it is what it is. So, but yeah, Dallas should definitely win this one. So there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
But then again, you could have also made this America's Game of the Week right here. The other 425 game on Fox. Huge implications in the NFC West. Both of these teams are 2-0. The Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the San Francisco 49ers. Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, the home of Super Bowl 60. And on the call for this one, it is Adam Amin, Mark Sanchez, and Christina Pink. And the spread favors, believe it or not, San Francisco. San Francisco opening up as a 2.5 point favorite. I'm a little surprised by that. San Francisco leads the all-time series 36-31. However, Arizona won both meetings last year, including a 24-23 win when they literally stole one in San Francisco. Niners' last home win against Zona was in 2023, 35-16, the final there. MF, we started with you. Arizona, San Francisco. So just like with our game with Denver and the Chargers, for sole possession of first place in the NFC West to the winner.
Yeah, and there is some rumors going around that we may get Brock Purdy. There is a chance that Brock could actually play. Even if he doesn't play, look, I gotta say it. Mac Jones, what a performance last week that he did. I don't think nobody thought that was gonna happen. I don't think nobody thought that what he did was gonna be you know, a layout and so much. And yeah, this was an unbelievable turn of events and everything else. And again, Mac Jones, another guy who got written off by everybody after his poor performances during the season. And and I'll openly admit it, was excommunicated. It was basically thrown out the door by the New England Patriots. Uh, so and it ended up being a great thing for him because he went into a system, had a great performance, and some people in San Francisco, and I'm not going to sit and start mentioning names, but some people were saying, the hell with Brock Purdy. Let's go with Mac Jones as our guy. And look, I know one game can change everything and opinions can change, but if Purdy's out there, I feel a little more comfortable. But again, the Niners have been dealing with injuries again. It seems like they can't get away from this injury bug. But I got San Francisco winning this game. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you, Fletch. I mean, I think we need to pump the brakes on people saying, "Oh, Mac Jones to be the guy," and screw Brock Purdy. I mean, I think Brock Purdy gives you a better chance to win. And again, you just mentioned it. The injury bug is once again catching up to the 49ers. I mean, they just can't catch a break. I mean, they had to deal with it all. I mean, a good portion of last season, and they ended up missing the playoffs. And yet, here we are, Fletch, at the start of the season, and it's happening again. And I don't know. I mean, it's almost like, what does it feel like to you, Fletch? When I mean, it's almost like somebody sending a message.
It's like the Miami Dolphins. It's like the Miami Dolphins situation. They've been dealing with injuries
like
left and right.
And it's almost like somebody's telling the 49ers that, hey,
yeah,
nobody wants to see you as a playoff team.
It almost feels like the football gods are out for the 49ers for some odd reason. They pissed in somebody's coffee, or somebody has messed up the juju, and the football gods are taking it out on the 49ers for some odd reason.
Or the football gods are saying, we're sick of seeing the 49ers rule the NFC West. We want to see somebody else win it.
Yeah. Very possible, too. Yeah.
But you can't blame the 49ers for it. I mean, injuries just happen. Stuff like this happens.
Agreed.
So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go with the 49ers to win this one. But, yeah, I was impressed with what I saw from Mac Jones last week. I know it's only one game, but I think he's going to get another chance, and he's got another chance to prove that, hey, everybody thinks, it was a fluke for Mac Jones. He got lucky. This is a chance for him to go out there and prove to the world that was no fluke. I can do some good things when I have good protection and weapons, which he does have some weapons on there. So So I'm going to go with the 49ers to win. It is yours, Florio.
Yeah. Tough one. I got to be honest. Though the Cardinals are off to a 2-0 start for the third time in the last 6 seasons, second-year wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. is not off to the start he was hoping for. Through 2 games, he has 7 catches on 11 targets for 98 yards and a touchdown. Harrison is not happy he's not having more of an impact on the offense, and he's not the only one. Coach Jonathan Gannon said Arizona needs more production from Harrison. It's always frustrating when you may not get the impact that you kind of want in the game, especially when you put in so much work, Harrison said. Corralling Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray has always been a battle for the 49ers. Murray is 4-4 in his 8 starts against San Francisco, and his ability to make plays with his legs has been an issue in most of those games. Linebacker Fred Warner said the ability to make the off-schedule plays, that's always kind of given us fits. We're going to try to do our best to try to contain him, but at the end of the day, he's going to make his plays. We've got to just limit the damage. Murray has averaged almost 53 rushing yards a game against the Niners in his career, second highest mark against any team he has played more than twice. The Cardinals are 2-0 this season despite being outgained by at least 25 yards in each game. The 2020 Seattle Seahawks are the only team this century to start a season 3-0 while being outgained by at least 25 yards in each game. Almost a pick'em game here. Slight FPI favors Arizona, 52%. And I am going to go with Arizona to win this one. I'm going to go 27-19. Arizona steals one in San Francisco. 2 games left, and it's the prime timers. It is Sunday Night Football on NBC, 8:20 p.m. And I'm going to call this our default, keyword default, Zonk game of the week, because both of the teams are 0-2, and we go by records, of course. The Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the New York Giants. MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Sunday Night Football on NBC, you know who's working it. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark. Kansas City opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. But it's the Giants who lead the all-time series against Kansas City 11-4. However, the Chiefs won their last meeting in 2021, winning in Kansas City 20-17. Last meeting in New York was 2017, the Giants winning it 12-9 in overtime. And the Chiefs have never won at the Giants. All 4 of their wins were at Arrowhead. So they've won at the Jets, yes, but they've never won at the Giants. So my oh my. So I think I start this one, correct? So
I think it's me.
Oh, it's you. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. Long day and night, of course, but that's all right. All right, Bullock. Kansas City and the Giants. Both teams are 0-2. Giants somewhat expected. If somebody told you that Kansas City was going to start 0-2, Bullock, what would you have said to them?
I would have said that you're freaking crazy that this would be the case, but it's happened. And
God forbid if they lose on Sunday night, then what?
Oh my gosh. I will say this, guys. If Kansas City loses this game to the New York Giants of all teams and fall to 0-3, well, the Kansas City haters are gonna enjoy it. They're gonna laugh in their faces, but everybody else is gonna be pissing all over them and saying, "Oh, their dynasty is done. It's crumbling before our very eyes." And yeah, it's not going to be good if that happens. So, Kansas City, you need to come out and win this game. Get off to a fast start and put them away, and literally show no mercy to this team and show, hey, we're off to a rough start, but we ain't done yet. So, by golly, you guys better win this game. So, I'm going with Kansas City to win, but by golly, Florio, if they lose to the Giants, all the national pundits are going to have a field day with this. The haters are gonna enjoy it, but everybody else, the criticism is gonna be, I'm gonna say it, at an all-time high.
Absolutely.
Because they'll be like, you're the Kansas City freaking Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and you're 0-3. Unacceptable.
We'll see. One key factor for the Chiefs defense will be taking the ball away, as they have not done that all season. Defensive tackle Chris Jones said turnovers affect the game. It could completely change the game. As a defense, we have to find ways to create more turnovers and give the ball back to quarterback Patrick Mahomes and coach Andy Reid. If we give the ball back to them, points will be generated. Since the Chiefs' offense has struggled, a pivotal highlight from the defense could be what sparks Mahomes and the offense to score enough points for their first win of the season. Just because the Chiefs are 0-2 doesn't mean the Giants look at them any differently than a Super Bowl contender. Defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence II chuckled at the idea that they have slipped, noting Kansas City still has most of its core players and the best of the best in Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs are still among the league's best teams despite their record, according to Lawrence. That just don't disappear, he said. With a passing and rushing touchdown in both games, Patrick Mahomes is looking to become the third quarterback in NFL history to record a touchdown run and pass in the first 3 games of a season. He would join Jack Kemp in 1965 and Arizona's Kyler Murray in 2020. The FBI likes Kansas City here. 65% going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're gonna get. I think the Giants are gonna give them fits, but I think the Chiefs will figure it out. I think this is where the Chiefs get off the schneid here. I think they'll eke this one out. I think I can see them getting a last minute or second field goal to steal it. 23-20. I'm going with Kansas City to defeat the New York Giants. Bullock is going to head out. MF and I will take you the rest of the way, even though we're almost done. So 23-20, Kansas City barely gets by the Giants. Not much more to say. MF, Kansas City, the Giants, both teams 0-2, default Zonk game of the week. Sunday Night Football at the Meadowlands at MetLife. You want to talk about a must-win for Kansas City? This is...
Oh, yeah. Must-win for Kansas City and for New York. This is a moment. This is your Super Bowl. If you knock off the Kansas City Chiefs, oh, my God, the headlines are going to be absolutely massive. But, yeah, they're going... you got to feel like Kansas City's going to win this game. You got to feel like they're going to turn this around and get the right moment. So, we'll see how it plays out. I got Kansas City winning. Anthony, Monday night. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. And think Kansas City could easily be 2-0, but
yeah,
they came up just short. They came up just short against the Chargers in Brazil, and they played Philly better than they did in the Super Bowl, but again, came up just short.
Philly found that way to win.
Yes, they did. Cross flex. We got we cross flexed this one. There was no way we were going to leave this one on the table. Oh no. If only one of these teams had that extra win, this very easily could have been our game right here. Monday Night Football, ESPN, number 3 game of the week on our side of the ledger because of the cross flex. The Detroit Lions squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens. M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore on ESPN, also simulcast on ABC. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters, Laura Rutledge in Baltimore. And Baltimore opening up as a 4.5-point favorite. Can't say I'm surprised with that. And the series history between these two, it favors... It's all over the place. Okay, Baltimore. Baltimore leads the all-time series 6-1. 6-1, Baltimore. Detroit's only beaten Baltimore one time, and that was in 2005 in Detroit. 35-17. Other than that, it's been all Baltimore all the time, including a 38-6 smashing of the Lions in 2023 in Baltimore. And of course, you also cannot help but think about that infamous Justin Tucker 66-yard field goal that beat the Lions a few years ago in one of the craziest, if not the craziest, ending to a regular season game you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And the late, great Greg Gumbel. That was one of the many highlights of the late, great Greg Gumbel's career. No doubt about it. So, all right. So, here we go. Detroit and Baltimore. Final game of the night. Although it was 2 seasons ago, the Lions have not forgotten about their last meeting in Baltimore. An embarrassing 38-6 loss in 2023. Lions coach Dan Campbell said, "You don't forget those because we didn't even give ourselves a chance." Coming off a dominant win over Chicago, Detroit is preparing to match that physical nature against the Ravens, but feels more prepared this time around. Receivers coach Scotty Montgomery said, "The physicality of this game is going to be high. We know that. And that's what we have to accept, and we have to do a lot better than we did last time." Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson doesn't like to talk about his remarkable record against the NFC because it could jinx it. Jackson is 24-2 against the NFC, which is the best mark by any starting quarterback in interconference games since the AFC-NFC merger in 1970. He is 2-0 against Detroit, totaling 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. His dominance over the NFC shows that it's difficult to beat Jackson and his unpredictable playing style when you don't face him regularly. Over the first 2 games of the season, Lamar Jackson and Lions quarterback Jared Goff are tied for the most passing touchdowns in the NFL at 6 apiece. FPI gives it to Baltimore, though. 57% going with the Baltimore Ravens. This is going to be a fun game. I wish we had this one. If only the record had gone one little itty-bitty other way, this would have been our game, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Baltimore. I got to go with Baltimore. 31-28. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go 31-28. Baltimore wins last minute or second field goal. And Michael Bullock has also agrees. Michael Bullock is also going with Baltimore to beat Detroit as well. So not much more to say. MF, take us home with this unbelievable cross flex.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the biggest cross flex games. When we actually did the schedule release back in May, we were circling this as our game. We all thought this was going to be our game of the week, and we could not believe what was going on. And we just like we said, there's a couple of other games that were better. But we were absolutely like, we are going to cross-flex this game. We want this on our ledger. So we definitely pined for it. Honestly, me and Anthony were looking for this to be our game of the week, and unfortunately, it did not go that way. But we were like, no, we're going to take the cross-flex, and we got it. So. Give me the Ravens to win it. Anthony, it's yours.
All right. And with that being said, that will put the bow on this week 3 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We will be back with you again tomorrow night. MF this time will have it. Braves Fan 95, hop on over to his channel for a loaded edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We got TNA Impact. We got Friday Night SmackDown. And we have the first ever premium live event on the brand new ESPN Unlimited app, WrestlePalooza. We're going to get into all of that tomorrow night. And then Tuesday night, we got Monday Night Raw. We got Ridiculously Raw. We got Monday Night Raw. We got NXT. I'm also going to run down the card for the TNA Victory Road special that takes place 1 week from tonight on the TNA Plus app. And we'll also preview Thursday Night Football with the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. And then Thursday night, of course, we got a loaded edition, a week 5 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. And then 1 week from tonight, we have the week 4 edition of NFL Friday. We'll recap Seattle and Arizona. We start the international series next week. The Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin, Ireland. How about that? Next week, Notable games next week: the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. How about the Indianapolis Colts against the Los Angeles Rams? That's another good one. Baltimore and Kansas City next week. But I don't think it's going to be on our end of it though. We'll see though. And then we also have Sunday Night Football. Micah Parsons returns to Dallas as a Green Bay Packer. Sunday Night Football, that is going to be cinema next Sunday night. And then we have another Monday night doubleheader next week. The New York Jets against MF's Miami Dolphins and the Cincinnati Bengals against the Denver Broncos. So we'll see how that all plays out next week. So that's it. So until tomorrow night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, and of course, always and forever, our First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday, and until tomorrow night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.